In general, an exemption granted under subparagraph B shall expire not later than December 31st, 2028 and may not be renewed beyond that date. Early termination. The Secretary may terminate an exemption granted under subparagraph B prior to the expiration date of that exemption if the Secretary determines that the state agency, 1, has failed to comply with the reporting requirement described in subparagraph E, or 2, based on the information provided pursuant to subparagraph E, failed to make continued good faith efforts toward compliance with the requirement of this subsection. Reporting requirements. The state agency granted an exemption under subparagraph B shall submit to the Secretary quarterly progress reports on the status of the state agency in achieving the milestone toward full compliance described in subparagraph C, 3, and 2. Information on specific risks or newly identified barriers or challenges to full compliance, including the plan of the state agency to mitigate those risks, barriers, or challenges. Availability of standard utility allowance based on receipt of energy assistance. Standard utility allowance, section 5E 6C 41 of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended by inserting with an elderly disabled member after household third-party energy assistance payment. Section 5K4 of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended in paragraph A by inserting without an elderly or disabled member before shall be, and in subparagraph B by inserting with an elderly or disabled member before under a state of law. Restriction on internet expenses. Section 5E6 of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended by adding at the end of the following restriction on internet expenses. Any service fee associated with internet connections shall not be used in computing the excess shelter expense deduction under this paragraph. Matching funds requirements. In general, Section 4A of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended by striking Section 2, the inserting the following program 1, establishment subject to, and 2, by adding at the end of the following 2, state quality control incentive. A. Definition of payment error rate in this paragraph. The term payment error rate at the meeting given the term in section 16C2. B. State cost share 1 in general, subject to clause 3, beginning in fiscal year 2028. If the payment error rate of the state as determined under clause 2 is 1. Less than 6% of federal share of the cost of the allotment described in paragraph 1 for that fiscal state in a fiscal year shall be 100% and the state share shall be 0%. 2. Equal to or greater than 6% but less than 8%. The federal share of the cost of the allotment described in paragraph 1 for that state in a fiscal year shall be 95%, and the state share shall be 5%. 3. Equal to or greater than 8%, but less than 10%. Federal share of the cost of the allotment described in paragraph 1 for that state in a fiscal year shall be 90%, and the state share shall be 10%. And 4. Equal to or greater than 10%, the federal share of the cost of the allotment described in paragraph 1 for that state in the fiscal year shall be 85%, and the state shall be 15%. 2. Elections. Fiscal year 2028 for fiscal year 2028 to calculate the applicable state share under Clause 1. The state may elect to use the payment error rate of the state from fiscal year 2025 or 2026. 2. Fiscal year 2029 and thereafter. For fiscal year 2029, each fiscal year thereafter, to calculate the applicable state share under Clause 1, the Secretary shall use the payment error year rate of the state for the third fiscal year preceding the fiscal year for which the state share is being calculated. Delayed implementation. Fiscal year 2025. If for fiscal year 2025 the payment error rate of a state multiplied by 1.5 is equal to or above 20%, the implementation date under Clause 1 for that state shall be fiscal year 2029. Fiscal year 2026. If for fiscal year 2026 the payment error rate of a state multiplied by 1.5 is equal to or above 20%, the implementation date under Clause 1 for the state shall be fiscal year 2030. 3. Maximum federal payment. The Secretary may not pay toward the cost of an allotment described in paragraph 1 an amount that is greater than the applicable federal share under paragraph 2. B. Limitation on authority. Section 13A1 of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended in the first sentence by inserting or the payment or disposition of a state share under Section 4A2 after 16C1D 1-2. Administrative cost sharing. Section 16A of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is preceded in the matter preceding paragraph 1 by striking agency an amount equal to 50% of and inserting agency through fiscal year 2026 50% and for fiscal year 2027 and each fiscal year thereafter 25%. National Education Obesity Prevention Grant Program. Section 28D1F of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended by striking for fiscal year 2016 and each subsequent fiscal year and inserting for each of fiscal year 2016 through 2025. Alien SNAP eligibility. Section 6F of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended to read as follows. No individual who is a member of a household otherwise eligible to participate in supplemental nutrition assistance programs under this section shall be eligible to participate in the supplemental nutrition assistance program as a member of that or any other household, unless he or she is a resident of the United States and either is a citizen or national of the United States, an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence as an immigrant as defined by Section 101A.15 and 101A.20 of the Immigration and National Act, excluding, among others, alien visitors, tourists, diplomats, and students who enter the United States temporarily with no intention of abandoning their residence in a foreign country. An alien who has been granted the status of Cuban and Haitian entrant as defined in Section 501E of the Refugee Education Assistance Act of 1980, Public Law 96, or an individual who lawfully resides in the United States in accordance with the Compact of Free Association referred to in Section 402B 2G of the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996. The income less at state option or pro rata share and financial resources of the individual rendered ineligible to participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program under this subsection shall be considered in determining the eligibility and the value of the allotment of the household of which such individual is a member. Subtitle B, Forestry. Rescission of amounts for forestry. The unobligated balance of amounts appropriated by the following provisions of public law are rescinded. Paragraphs 3 and 4, Section 23001A, 136 Statute 2023. 2. Paragraphs 1 through 4, Section 23002A, 136 Stat. 2025. 3. Section 23003A2, 136 Stat. 2026. 4. Section 23005, 136 Stat. 2027. Subtitle C, Commodities. Effective reference price, effective reference price of the Agricultural Act of 2014 is amended by striking 85 and inserting, beginning with the crop year 2025, 88 reference price, Section 1111 of the Agricultural Act of 2014, 7 U.S.C. 9011, is amended by striking paragraph 19 and inserting the following. 19 reference price A, in general, effective beginning with the 2025 crop year, subject to subparagraph B and C. The term reference price with respect to a covered commodity for a crop year means the following. 1 for wheat, $6.35 per bushel. 2 for corn, $4.10 per bushel. 3 for grain sorghum, $4.40 per bushel. 4 for barley, $5.45 per bushel. 5 for oats, $2.65 per bushel. 6 for long grain rice, $16.90 per hundredweight. 7 for medium grain rice, $16.90 per hundredweight. 8 for soybeans, $10 per bushel. 9 for other oilseeds, $23.80 and 75 cents per hundredweight.